Hi Virgo, happy birthday and welcome to your September 2019 Astrology 33 reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, shared, subscribed, donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And before I forget, I won't be doing personal readings for a while. I might start them up again by the time I post the October videos, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Just wanted to put that out there. And as far as the love readings go, I'll probably have them up closer to Labor Day weekend, actually. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. But with that out of the way, we have a Celtic Cross spread on the table as always. You guys got some extra cards that came up there, quite a few actually. And then we have some Oracle cards to look at, and also a mudra card. So let's get started. In the main situation position, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So this is a Taurus energy. I view this as a mixture of Venus and Mercury energy as well. But basically reviewing your finances for the most part. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be finances, but it's that energy of reevaluating. On a more negative scale, it could represent comparison as far as, if we look at the artwork. This could be you looking at what someone else has accomplished up to this point and feeling like you only have that much, right? And you might just feel a little bit dejected, like, I don't get it. I put in just as much work as this person. Why do they have this much and I only have this much, right? That could be one of the more negative ways this energy plays out. It could also just be reevaluating, even if all seven of these pentacles are yours, you could be looking at the fact that, okay, I have this one growing here, but it's taken me so long to get these six, do I really want to continue to put forth effort to continue to grow them, right? So that could be what's going on there. You could just be reevaluating things in that regard. Especially, you've had a lot of energy in your 12th house, and, I'm recording this a couple days after the full moon in Aquarius. I'm recording this on the 17th, so this could just be saying that now things will start to shift into your first house, so that could change your perspective somewhat. But, with all that energy in your 12th house, I could see you being in that reflective mood as well, and maybe not knowing which way to go next. In the Challenger obstacle position, we have the Queen of Pentacles. This is actually a court card for Capricorn, but this could represent your energy as well. But to me, the first thing that comes to my mind with this, seeing it as the Challenger obstacle with the Seven of Pentacles, is, again, I see that theme repeating where you feel like you're not as far along as you should be in your mind, so that could be the disappointment there. This could be the level that you want to get to at some point, and you're just thinking to yourself, maybe having that harsh realization of how much further you have to go to get there, right? That could be what's going on. And this might even be someone you are comparing yourself to as well, which is to say, I'm here. There's this person in my environment that's at that Queen of Pentacles level. I have so much more to go to get there, right? And you could be thinking that if I just get here, I'll be happy, kind of, right? One of those mentalities. But, I mean, really, if you look at it, I don't know if you can necessarily even say with their facial expression if they look completely content with where they're at either. And what's funny to me is, given their position in the spread as well, they're looking down at the King of Pentacles. So, it's almost like saying the rat race. It's like, okay, you want to get to the Queen level, but yet if you only knew, the Queen is like, oh, I got to get to the King level. So it could just be that never-ending cycle of not having feeling like you don't have enough, essentially. That's the main vibe that I'm getting there. And I do see a somewhat of a shift in that, but that's at least what I'm seeing as the main theme right now for you guys. And as far as what this could be pertaining to, I will keep in mind the fact that Capricorn for you is your 5th house. So this could be around maybe some creative projects. Maybe you've hit writer's block, for example. Maybe there's this project you were excited about, you got 70% done with it, and now you just feel stuck. Could be a book, could be a new business you were trying to launch, and now you just feel like you're just stuck. Like, okay, what do I do next? So like I said, it could be something as simple as writer's block if you're trying to do a creative project. Maybe this is you again, maybe even since this is fifth house as well, he could just be trying to get your finances right so you could possibly have a child, right? You're like, okay, I'm reconsidering this, right? I've had Jupiter retrograde in my fourth, which is about home and family, or maybe thinking about, do I want to expand that family, right? You'll have Jupiter moving in there soon as well. So maybe that's what's been on your mind. But okay, I'm not financially where I want to be at to take that kind of a step. And this could just be how you're seen in the world too. That could be what you're comparing yourself to. Like, okay, well, I'm putting out XYZ. Other people putting out XYZ have this much. I'm not getting as much clout, right? What's going on? You could just be reevaluating it. But regardless of how it's playing out, I think the theme here is to say that, you know, pace yourself and what you see on the surface, someone else's success, for example, they might not view it as a success. So, you might want to get to their level so badly, but who's to say they're happy with it? And what even stands out to me more about that is, like I said, if we look at the queen, she's looking down at the king, right? And that's in the foundation. So again, this could be you just thinking about where you want to get, right? And to me, we have the Nine of Swords beneath that. So to me, this is a cautionary tale, which is it could play out a couple ways, which is to say, okay, oh, I want to get to the queen level. And then this could be saying, okay, but then when you get to the queen level, oh, I want to get to the king level. Like I said, she doesn't necessarily look all that happy in that picture. I guess it's a more of a neutral um, facial expression. Hey, it is Capricorn, right? They're known for their neutral facial expressions. But, because just he's saying, okay, you get to the queen level, then you want to get to the king level. But then you get to the king level and you still have anxiety. Am I doing enough? Am I far enough? So it's like, when does it end, basically? So that's really the main vibe that I'm picking up there. Or again, these could be people that you're looking at in your life that you feel like they're so much further ahead than you, but yet, like I said, we look at the Queen of Pentacles facial expression. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say she looked like she's so happy. And then, you look at this guy, right? All right, on the surface, he might look like he has everything, but underneath it all, right, when he takes all that off and gets in his bed to go to sleep at night, this is what's on his mind. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily a be careful what you wish for type thing, meaning that if you do get to this level, this is going to be your life. But, it could just be saying, you know, try to really just focus on your life and not compare yourself to others at this time. And like I said, that could just be all the 12th house stuff you have going on there. Fourth house, you guys had Jupiter retrograde there for a long time too, which could have just had you reevaluating just how you view, things you might have grown up believing. Maybe you've been reevaluating those, especially with Neptune squaring it like it did a few times, and now Jupiter is finally going direct again, and I see a Jupiter indicator there as well. So that could be what it is too. Just a confluence of all those energies playing out. That might have really had you up in your head. In the past position, we have the Eight of Cups. So this is actually a Pisces energy. So this could be, now I don't necessarily see this as a timeline because that's going back pretty far, and but yeah, I mean, for some of you, maybe you left something behind at the time of Pisces, right? Maybe you left one job for another. Maybe you got to a certain level, right? And you're like, oh, you know what? This isn't really fulfilling me the way I thought it would. And maybe you started something new. And maybe now you're at this point with that, where it's like, all right, well, you weren't happy with this thing, so you left it for this thing. Now you're getting along in this. Now you're not feeling content there, right? So maybe it's telling you to look inward a little bit more and see what's at the root of that. But on a more mundane level, this could have just been saying that you did lead something that wasn't fulfilling you at the level that you hoped for. And we're going to seek what would fulfill you, basically. After this, you get the Nine of Cups, which is, to me, I always say the 8 to the 9 progression. I mean, I don't have the Nine of Cups in the spread, but just to say as an example, the Nine of Cups is almost to me about that self-love, right? Instead of always going out and seeking more externally, the Nine of Cups is like, all right, getting content in your own skin, knowing what you bring to the table, what you have to offer. And then, like magic, all of a sudden the Ten of Cups comes along, right? That's usually how it works. So that's how I see that energy playing out. So this could just be saying, all right, you got to that point. where you realize, all right, I'm not content, but now you need to get to that point where you have to look inward and basically get that self-love going for yourselves. All right, in the present position, we have a lot of cards, so let's go through them. We have the Wheel of Fortune, the Ace of Cups, the Six of Cups, and the Knight of Swords. So, a whole lot going on there, but let's just go through what comes to my mind first. So, we have the Wheel of Fortune. I was talking about Jupiter a bit there, how it was retrograde in your fourth, and now it's moving direct. So it could be just as simple as that, saying that now you're getting some forward movement. And quite frankly, all of this could have been, whatever you had going on in your mind could have had you in a bit of hermit mode too. Again, fourth house is the home, right? So maybe this is just saying because you were in this reflective mode and really thinking about what are my next steps going to be, what do I need to change to get to this next level, right? Maybe you've been isolating a bit. And maybe this is saying now, with all this energy coming into your sign now, maybe you are starting to get yourself back out there. Maybe you're starting to reconnect with friends that maybe you haven't seen in a while. Maybe that gets creative juices flowing for you as well, right? Since we were talking about maybe some fifth house blockage. And then, you actually feel that forward momentum, that movement, because you're going to have Mars in your sign, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, so a whole lot of stuff going on in Virgo. So this could just be saying that this is your energy. It's really kind of igniting you a little bit, whereas this definitely feels like a bit more stagnant energy. Another way this could be playing out, some of you could even be moving, maybe even moving back home for some of you as well, where maybe you had moved away, and maybe that's what this is about too. Maybe you moved away from one area to another, and then you realize, okay, well, maybe this isn't all it's cracked up to be either, right? So maybe you're moving back to a place where you previously lived, and the reason I say that has to do primarily with that Six of Cups, because that makes me think of, reconnecting with people from your past. Now, this could just also be maybe for those of you where I was talking about the writer's block, for example, or just some kind of blockage in a creative project you were working on. Maybe you get a new idea that gets you some movement, right? Maybe you even team up with someone from your past, or just reconnect with what brings you joy, right? That could be as simple as that. It's like if we look at this, it's almost like two little kids, right? So, and then that gets you moving again. Now, in the terms of a relationship, it could be that as well, right? This could just be saying that you're getting some forward momentum in that area of life, and maybe this is either you finally extending an offer to someone or they to you, and you guys get that forward momentum there, and you start communicating again, right? With the eclipses, the retrogrades, all the stuff that's been going on lately, that could have been a holdup as well, and you guys tend to feel those Mercury retrogrades, obviously, since you're another sign that's ruled by Mercury, so. And it started in your 12th house too, so, and then went into your house of friendship. So this could just be as simple as reconciling with a friend that maybe you guys got into a conflict, maybe because you're so stuck in your head about feeling like you're in a state of lack, maybe you might have blown up at them and they didn't know what the hell it was about, and maybe now you're like, hey, sorry about that, and trying to get back on track with them, basically. And maybe even feeling like you have to rush in to do it too, there's a few different ways it could play out. But either way, I do like to see this forward momentum, if nothing else, because this energy right here just wasn't really giving me that good of a vibe, quite frankly. In the near future position, we have the Ten of Pentacles. So, again, with that forward momentum thing we were talking about, it might not be the queen or the king level that you're aspiring for, right? But to go from the 7 to a 10 is not bad, right? Obviously, that's showing some signs of progression and growth there as well. So again, maybe this is something you'd already put out there, and maybe it wasn't getting as much recognition and attention as you thought it would, right? Maybe this is a product you already have out there, and you're like, oh, I thought it was going to pull in this much, right? Maybe you saw it as the key to success for you to some extent, and it wasn't really taking off the way you thought it would. And then maybe this is saying that all of a sudden, the Wheel of Fortune, right? All of a sudden you start getting people coming in and actually they want that service, whatever it is, maybe whether you put out a book or started a website or started offering some kind of services, right now all of a sudden that starts to pick up for you. And, and another thing this could be too, you could also be dealing with a Taurus because this is a Taurus card here, and they actually had the Nine of Pentacles in their outcome position. So, maybe there was something going on there between you and a Taurus where maybe you guys were kind of butting heads a little bit, and now you'll start getting that forward momentum and getting back on track with them this month. Or maybe you just have a Taurus placement as well. But with the Ten of Pentacles here, though, since I've been seeing that theme here, it could just be pointing back to that same thing too, which is the cautionary thing. Because if we look at this guy, to me, he looks like the same guy in the Hermit card, which is the Major Arcana card for Virgo. So again, it could be one of those things where, okay, like I was saying, being careful of, always just feeling like you don't have enough. Because it's like, all right, now you're at the Ten of Pentacles level, right? But now you're looking at, well, I could have a family, right? Or should I have had a family, right? If you're someone who's a bit older and you're reconsidering, did I make the right decision by plugging away at my career with these goals in mind? I want to be the Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles. And now you might be like, is it too late for this kind of life now, right? That could be how some of you are looking at it. But overall, I mean, this is definitely good for finances. And it doesn't have to necessarily mean that, it could just be saying that you're spending time with family as well. Maybe there was even some family fallouts with the Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter being retrograde in your fourth. And maybe this is even you reconnecting with some family members that you might have fallen out with. And maybe it was all tied to financial stress. And maybe now you are getting that forward movement and now you're actually trying to right any wrongs there. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Justice card. So this is actually a card of Libra. But this can be just what I was talking about, trying to restore balance somewhere, where maybe, whether it be a family connection, a friendship, or a romantic relationship, maybe you haven't been putting any time or effort into that because you've been so caught up in your head about how to get your finances right. Maybe now that you're feeling a little bit more grounded in that area, now you're like, okay, let me, start to put back into those other areas of my life as well. But the funny thing that stands out to me about this too is Libra is also your second house, which again ties to finances. So this could just be saying that you're still heavily on your mind thinking about your finances. And, but the good thing here is maybe this is you finally figuring out a way to balance it, right? Like maybe realizing, okay, it doesn't have to be all about work all the time, for example. I can still have a family or still interact with family. I can still spend some time with friends, right? And maybe you're just looking at it like, when you plug away at one area of your life for so long, it could burn you out, basically. So that could be what this came down to. You might have burned yourself out, and now you're coming to that realization that, what? Maybe I do need that time away, to just step back a little bit and spend some time with friends, spend some time with family, maybe go out and date a little bit, right? So maybe that's you rebalancing yourself, essentially, in your life, and figuring out how to balance those things as well. In the position of the environment's influence on the situation, we have the Page of Pentacles. So again, I feel like this could just be another thing pointing to you not being where you want to be, right? If you have that queen and king aspiration. But here we are, right? You get to the 7, you get to the 10, now we have the page, right? So still not there, but getting there, basically. And especially with the Page of Pentacles, because with the pages, I always say they have that 1 foot in, 1 foot out energy with their stance, and then also with the Page of Pentacles in particular, I view it as it's right out of reach, right? If we look at that pentacle, it's not quite in his hand, so that could just be how you feel. Like you feel like you're close, but you're not quite there, But keep in mind that the page is still growth, especially if you're in that 7 of Pentacles vibe to start. And like I said, there's a lot of transits going through your first house. Eventually, all those transits are going to go through your second house, if I can talk. So that'll help with the finances in that regard too. And this is just basically a heavy time for for Virgo and all the earth signs, but mostly in a positive way. But it could just feel like a lot at once. And the reason I say that is because just the transits, as all these signs pass through, all these planets are ever pass through Virgo, they're going to trine Uranus first, and then they're also going to trine Saturn. They're going to trine Pluto, the south node. They're going to sextile the north node. And then they're even going to square. They're going to square Jupiter. They're going to oppose Neptune. So there's just a lot going on. A lot of planetary aspects. And mainly taking place with all the personal planets moving through your sign. So definitely, it wouldn't surprise me if you're just reevaluating your whole life in general. So, it could feel, I could understand that could feel a little bit overwhelming, right? And maybe with the Three of Wands at the bottom of the deck too, representing that waiting for your ships to come in energy, right? Like I said, feeling like you've put in so much work and feeling like you're not quite where you should be. Maybe this Wheel of Fortune is saying, hey, whatever work you've put in hasn't been wasted. You just might have needed for the right time to things to shift, and now they're starting to move in a more positive direction. And yes, you might feel like it's still out of your reach, but try to calm your mind a little bit, basically. Because in the hopes or fears position, we have the Eight of Wands, and I'm feeling like for the vast majority of you, this is more of a hope. Again, like I just feel like you want movement, right? And it could, again, be with all those planets finally shifting out of your 12th into your first house. That could be what's doing it, I mean, on any given year, yes, you might have the Sun, Venus, and Mercury moving through your sign during your birth month, but, this Mars is not always there, too. So that's like that extra element that you wouldn't always have around this time of year for yourself. So that could be where that extra fidgetiness is coming from as well. But like I said, it looks like the movement is there. It might not be at the rate that you want it to be, but it does seem to be steady and actually a little fast, quite frankly. So maybe not as fast as you want, again, because if that's where you see yourself, oh, I should be the queen level. And again, like I said, that cautionary thing of, hey, even somebody might see as having it all, this might still be how they feel at the end of the day, too. So, be careful what you wish for somewhat, right? And then in the outcome position, we have the Judgment card, the Queen of Wands, the Four of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles. So this is an interesting mixture of cards here, too. Now, the Judgment card, for me, I view this as a Scorpio card. Like I always say, the Death is their primary card. But as we always hear about Scorpio and 8th house, death and rebirth, I view this as the rebirth energy. And seeing that with the Queen of Wands as well, so really in a way this is two 8th house connections, because this is Scorpio, the natural ruler of the 8th house. This is an Aries card, which is your 8th house. So this could just be saying, maybe this was something you were working on, and maybe all of a sudden you might get some funding. External funding, right? Maybe that's what happened. You might have run out of funding for something that you were sure in your mind, oh, this is going to be the thing that gets me to that next level. But maybe you ran out of funding for it. Maybe this is saying that, all of a sudden you might get someone who hears about your project, or again with that Six of Wands, maybe this is someone you've worked with in the past, or someone from your past hears about what you're trying to get off the ground, and they're like, hey, you know what? I'd like to, throw some money in for that, right? Maybe that's what this is about, and that's where that Page of Pentacles energy is coming from, saying that, okay, and maybe it's just as simple as you speaking up and saying that you need help with something too, right? And maybe that's what it ends up being, because this is your 3rd house too. So maybe this is saying you need to communicate if you need some help with something. And, maybe in the past you've had people that were closed off about the idea, right? Well, I don't know, like maybe you even offered, maybe you proposed the book idea, right, to some people, and they might have been like, yeah, we're not really sure we're feeling it. But now maybe you find someone who does, right? It only takes one. And they might say to you, yeah, we're serious about offering you this, and maybe it's not going to be tomorrow, right? But they might give you a date. yeah, you know what, we could send you, we'll take a look at this, we'll give you a decision by October or something like that, right? So you might feel like, all right, it's still just out of my reach. Am I, what's the verdict going to be here? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? And speaking of verdict, actually, weird that that came out of my mouth like that, but that makes me think of the justice card too. Maybe this is actually a legal recourse of some kind that you guys are going through. Having the justice card in the position of your influence on a situation shows that things should come out in your favor. So something to keep in mind there too. If this is actually a legal recourse that you've had to take, maybe because you weren't being treated fairly by an employer, right? Maybe there was some back pay they owed you or something along those lines. Maybe that's what this has to do with as well. It didn't even cross my mind until now for some reason, but maybe that's what's going on there. I'm trying to think if anything else comes to mind, but yeah, that's more Capricorn energy. So again, maybe this is going back to what I was saying earlier with the writer's block too. For example, maybe this is you. You've felt stuck for a while, right, in that fifth house area, and now you get a new idea of how to move forward. All right, and that could be why. Okay, I know what I have to do now, right? I have this sudden insight that came to me, right? It could be one of those things that comes to you in a dream or whatever the case may be. If you think about the angel reference there, right? And the eighth house, right? That could be something that's almost a bit hidden in a way. So maybe it's just something that comes to you in a dream, or maybe when you're meditating and you're like, okay, this is it, right? Whatever blockage you're at, now you see, all right, this is how I can move forward. So, I know, like, I definitely, like I said, I was really getting a bad vibe with these cards in particular. Like, I was just getting that feeling of lack, like, oh, I don't have enough. I need to get here. I need to get here. But then each here you get to, right, you're still not happy with it. Or each person that you look up to, like, oh, those people are doing so much better than me. Okay, well, at the end of the day, you don't know what they're dealing with, too, and maybe that's what the justice is about. Like, you know what? I'm going to stop putting people on pedestals. I'm going to start viewing people as my equal and understand that, hey, we all have something to contribute, right? Capricorn's Capricorn, Taurus is Taurus, Virgo is Virgo. All right. So going to your oracle cards, the first one we have is Imagine. There's the artwork for it, and it's number 20. And before seeing that moon there made me think of the fact that with Jupiter moving direct again, it will start to move closer and closer into another square aspect with the Neptune in your seventh house. So you might already be feeling that. But yeah, again, like I was saying about the dreams and everything for some of you, and then this could just be, again, with that Neptune. Neptune is about creativity to a certain extent. So maybe with Jupiter there, that's been an aspect that's been kicked around quite a bit this year, as one's retrograded, gone direct, vice versa. And this is going to be the last time they make that aspect as Jupiter's moving forward again. So maybe this idea, you've been stumbling upon it, you've been getting close, but you haven't been able to quite nail it down. Maybe that's what ends up happening this month too. Finally, you figure out, okay, this is the one piece I'm missing. Now I can move forward with it. All right, well, let's see what the actual card says. Enough rambling from me. Essential meaning says turning imagination into manifestation, creative thought, visualization, the power of aligning imagery and feelings, creativity, illusions. The Oracle's message. Who do you want to be? What do you need to believe in order to have the life you want? You are gifted with the power to imagine. If you can dream it, you can create it. This is the time when your imagination is the key to manifesting the life you desire. Spend time daydreaming, fashioning a vision board to help you see your goals, or meditating. Allow the power of your creativity to deliver images of what feeds your soul. Then allow your feelings to mingle with your inspirations and imagine these things being real right now. Then repeat. What you imagine will become your belief, and soon you will see these things come to pass in the outer world, as if by magic. So it's interesting there because, again, maybe that's, like I said, you have this vision of, oh, I'm going to be the queen. I want to get to the queen level. I want to get to the king level. And like I said, you're at that Seven of Pentacles right now, but maybe that is what it is, right? Like I was saying with the fourth house and, Jupiter now going direct there. Maybe it's about limiting beliefs you might have had since you were a kid, quite frankly. Maybe you were just raised a certain way to, put limitations on what you could accomplish. Like maybe you only thought there was one way to get somewhere, right? Maybe now your perspective is shifting on that, right? Maybe you're reconnecting to that innocence of a child in a way with that Six of Cups there, and it's saying that it's freeing those blockages for you. Then you get to that 10, you're feeling more in balance, right? You get to that page level, which again, like I said, not where you want to be, but coming from the 7, it's pretty steady progress. And then we see the Judgment. So, it looks like there's definite forward momentum if you try not to get too stuck in your head, basically. Good luck, right, for us Mercury ruled people. But the relationship message says in matters of the heart, it's easy to daydream about another as a means of connecting to that person. While that's romantic, if you want this relationship to be real, you need to go for it, not just dream about it. Now is the time to move beyond the daydream and into reality, beyond illusion and into fruition. Relationships are about relating. So step onto the dance floor where imagination partners with manifestation. The message of this card is that a person with attributes you have imagined will enter your life. You'll be changed for the better. Imagine that. So that's another interesting one there, as far as it said. Instead of daydreaming about someone, you might actually have to make a move. Or like it says, maybe even this person isn't in your life yet, but maybe just actually, putting yourself out there in some way might bring them in your life. So, and maybe that's even what that Page of Pentacles is about, right? Maybe that person you're looking for is just out of reach right now. So maybe that's what that's referring to. All right. The next card we have is Dragonfly Spirit, and this is from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, by the way. It says, truth transcends illusion. And then we have the Dragonfly there. Between Imagine and now this card, before we even look at the messages, too, maybe that's what those oppositions are going to do as well. Like I said, all those personal planets moving through your sign opposing Neptune, right? Maybe they give you a little bit different perspective where maybe you haven't been seeing something or someone as clearly. Maybe that gives you that little bit of a different insight, and maybe that helps move you forward in some way as well. All right. So it says, Dragonfly Spirit is here to remind you of the wisdom and truth available at all times in the hidden realms. Just as a dragonfly catches your eye with its reflective wings and body, Dragonfly Spirit appears to tell you to pay attention to the truth beyond the illusion and recognize the insights that come seemingly out of nowhere, peeking through from behind the veil. In the realm of spirit, there is far more wisdom than you can perceive with your senses, and there is a deep knowing that you are not separate or alone, for a higher power recognizes you and loves you beyond measure. Fears dissipate as you realize you are embraced by the nurturing force that is everywhere, always in communication with you. Alighting when you are preoccupied, Dragonfly Spirit offers this message. You exist in unity with all, including the protective spirit who share their wisdom, and you are being nudged along the path your soul needs to travel to have the experiences it craves. Love exists in many forms, and sometimes we overlook it when we don't recognize a particular form. Pay attention to the signs now. They remind you that each of us have inspired dreams seamlessly sewn into the fabric of the invisible world, and there is a great consciousness that exists in the seemingly empty spaces, guiding us on our own journey. Open to the truth, letting the wisdom of the hidden realms inform you, providing insights your conscious mind overlooks. Wow. Apparently dragonflies have a lot to say. Hopefully you guys got some from that. I don't even remember what I was reading at this point. It was so much, but overall it definitely did sound like a positive message. And kind of aligns with what we were talking about already as well. So there's that. But yeah, that was definitely a wordy one. And finally we have Parrot Spirit, also from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. It says, watch your words. And there's the artwork, and the number is 45. I will say that Taurus got this card as well. So again, if you're dealing with a Taurus or you have a prominent Taurus placement in your chart as well, you might want to check their reading out. Not a whole lot of parallels there, but there were, like as far as the cards go, for example, I think the only cards they had in their spread was the Nine of Swords and the Judgment card. So aside from that, a lot of different energy, but you might find some overlapping energy there. All right, and let's see. It says, what are you saying to yourself? What message are you repeating? Is it something that makes you feel good about yourself and reminds you of your strengths and potential? Parrots mimic the sounds around them, and when parrot spirit appears, it is time to be more mindful of your self-talk and its qualities. What do you say to others? Are you repeating what you truly believe? Remembering to speak with light and love can become a habit. Be generous with compliments and thanks, affirming all that is good so that your loving, healing words will be heard throughout the jungle, cutting through the noise and inspiring others. Listen for the words that remind you of all the strength, abundance, and joy in your life and in the world around you, and then repeat them, affirming what is real, true, and nurturing to the soul. The universe will reflect back to you the story you tell. Words matter, so choose ones that lift you up and inspire others to remember that beauty surrounds us. So yeah, I mean, that one I actually think is pretty on point for what we were talking about too, as far as I was saying, like this could be about negative self-talk to a certain extent. Like I said, for those of you who don't feel like you're as far along as you should be, or where compared to other people in your group, for example, like when the North Node moved through Leo, that should have helped you guys get through some of that self-sabotaging behavior that you might have had, for example. And now it's moving through Cancer, which is the house of friendship. So maybe it actually has brought some people into your lives that are, doing very well. But that's to inspire your growth, if anything, not to make you feel like you're less than, you know what I mean? So, and then maybe you're finally coming to that realization this month with the Justice card there, right? Which is to say, all right, we're all on an equal playing field. Yeah, I have somewhere I need to get, but that's fine. My journey's mine. Their journey is theirs. All right. And the last thing we have is a mudra card for your sign. So you guys have Chin Mudra. This is it here. Keyword for it is awareness. And for those of you who don't know, these are just hand gestures that you hold while meditating. So usually 5 minutes is a minimum as far as how long to hold it for. But if you're more accustomed to meditating, you could definitely go longer than that. All right, so here's some of the info on it. There we go. All right, and then not everything fits in a frame there, so if you want to pause that or take a quick screenshot, you can, and then I'll move it up so you can see the rest. But yeah, under benefits, it says sharpens the intellect, reduces daydreaming and mental fantasy during meditation, lifts depression, opens the lower lobes of the lungs, especially when accompanied by deep diaphragmatic breathing. So that sounds like something you think will benefit you guys. I will put it in the description of the video so you can look into that a bit more. And once again, happy birthday. I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.